Hello everyone, I am Lieutenant Colonel Dylan Matthew and I have retired from the Indian Army after more than 23 years of service. For me, my uniform has been a passion, but while in the service, I found a little more than being in the uniform. So I went for my calling of mentoring young boys and girls. So today, I am into a field which is slightly different from what everybody gets into. I am a career counselor. I am a parenting coach, and also I enjoy doing psychological counseling to parents as well as children. Now, a little brief into my background. I'm born in Kerala, did my initial schooling in Kerala in a school called Don Bosco High School in Irinjalakuda. It's a small town in Kerala. From there, I went on to the Bangalore Military School, where I joined in sixth standard and spent my 7 years of my formative years in that school. Passed out from military school, and I was fortunate to get into the prestigious National Defense Academy. I joined in National Defense Academy in the year 1992. Journey has been fantastic. 3 years, 93, 94, 95, I was there, graduated to Indian Military Academy, and thereafter, the journey with the Indian Army has been great. While being in the army, I was fortunate to be the aide to the governor of Uttaranchal, and that is where I found my passion into education. Because at that point of time, the governor had given me a small task to see how we can help the poor children in the state. So we had come up with the idea of opening up a residential school for these young girls who were academically brilliant but economically from the weaker sections of the society. So I was fortunate to be part of the startup of this fantastic school, which is doing really well today, which is the Himjyoti School. And it is a total charitable institution where all the girls, I think around 250 girls are there, and all of them are given absolutely free education, and it's a residential school. So that is the first ignition for me to get into the field of education. Thereafter, I was fortunate to even work with the military school where I had studied. So I was posted there as the project officer, where I also got the opportunity to officiate as the principal of the school where I had studied. I really found my passion in mentoring young boys and girls, and I really enjoyed those days spent in the school. Thereafter, while I was in the Indian Army, I was fortunate to look after certain army schools and also officiate as a principal in case of the principal was on long leave while I was in the Indian Army. And thereafter, I was so inspired with this whole concept of mentoring young boys and girls that I started taking my qualifications in that direction. So I did my master's while I was in Bangalore. Then I realized that I need to do my B.Ed because without doing B.Ed, there is no space in school education. So I did my B.Ed. After that, I did my master's in education. After that, I took a PhD also in education. Along with that, I've taken a lot of certifications. I've done certification from the Harvard on positive parenting. I've taken from Yale University on positive again how to deal with children, and then positive psychology I have taken from Johns Hopkins University. So my journey of learning has never ceased because I always say if you have to be with the student community, you have to be a constant learner. So that's my journey so far. And right now, I'm sitting here full time as a career counselor, as a parenting coach, and also the role of a psychological coach for a lot of children who are having sometimes a little bit of difficult times. This year has been bad for students because of the corona. Most of them could not enjoy the school. They had to go in for online classes, which has been really tough. So I've been fortunate to come across some children where I could be a help in giving them good mental health. Yes, Arjun. So anything else you wish to?
Sir, I must say this is a very seldom you come across military professionals who have actually dwelled so deep into this field. I mean, looking at your credentials itself is quite uh, uh, you know it's fantastic.
Thank you.
So, sir, I'm sure, sir, this So how many years have you invested in understanding this field, sir? Is it 10 years? And did it start, as you mentioned, did it start in your military career, or is it something you realize even after you completed your PhD? I mean, PhD is the people say in academia it's the pinnacle. But even after reaching that pinnacle, I can see that you have gone across doing lot many more courses. What is that the gap which you came across when you left the service, and you when you came across you realize this is a place where I need to sharpen a bit more? Can you just explain that part, sir?
Okay. So my inspiration to join the school space started almost 17 years back when I was in the year 2004, when I was in the Raj Bhavan, Dehradun. Like I said, when we planned to open a school in Dehradun. So after that, I've been on a constant learning spree. I never stopped because even today I tell everyone every year you should do some course. Take a degree, take a post graduation, take at least a certification. And today, everything is available at the click of a mouse. You don't have to physically even go to those classrooms, because certification is something which you can keep taking from various websites like Udemy, Coursera, edX, LinkedIn
Yeah.
courses. So there are a number of opportunities where you can take this courses. So it was not suddenly that it came to my mind that now I have to leave the defense forces. So let me start taking qualification, because all these qualifications are over a period of almost 16, 17 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one. Second thing is, as a army personnel, I was fortunate because the field in which I was looking, I was already experienced. I have more than 7, 8 years of working experience in the schools before I left this great uniform. So I was fortunate, but if there is somebody who's looking to come into the space where I'm working, my recommendation would be take academic qualification. First and foremost is psychological background. I forgot to mention, I have
Mm-hmm.
done MSc psychology.
Mm-hmm.
So even though for career counselor, it is not necessary to be a psychologist, but it actually helps.
Mm-hmm.
Because large number of times what has happened is whenever the students have come to me, being a psychologist, I find there is something in their mind which is blocking them from achieving what they want to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
Large number of times, and I had told parents, "Ki, listen, we need to stop this career counseling right now. There is something else which is there in the child's mind, and I need to talk to the child separately.
Mm-hmm.
We have a one-to-one friendly chat, and 99.999% it is true. There was some mental block, there was some major personal issue in the life of the child, which was troubling the child so much that the child was not able to give fruitful time to the productive work which the child was supposed to do. So, my recommendations would be take your qualifications as much as possible. Learning should never stop. Whether you are going to become a career counselor, or going to look for working in the school space, or whether you want to get into parenting coaching, these are the three things which I am doing. You need to constantly learn. And that's something I tell my students also. Today, there is no lower age limit for somebody who wants to take a certification from any of these websites like Udemy or Coursera or edX or LinkedIn. So I tell them, whatever you are passionate about, start taking certification. Now there are two advantages which you have. Firstly, you will come to know hands-on experience on what that is going to be, what that the profile of that job which you are looking for, or the passion which you have, which you are going to look for, what is that going to be? Second thing is, there could be also a probability that you might find it a little boring and might, might like to switch to something. So, doing courses and doing internships, again, another one thing which I recommend everybody, whether you are a grown up or a student, try and do internships in companies where you are looking to work. Now, internship works both ways. It is huge advantage for the company because they are getting somebody absolutely free of cost.
Mm-hmm.
For you, it is advantageous because you are going to work in a space which you are later on going to work for the salary. So it is advantageous for both, for the company and for the individual. There are a lot of websites like Internshala. then Let's Intern, then LinkedIn internship they are providing. So there's n number of them. So these are some things which we need to do when we are looking for a space where we want to work.
Mhm.
Planning has to start at least a decade before. I would say a decade before. Large number of young officers
Yeah.
or young personals, young students who come to me, I say, start working from now
Mhm.
so that you have your target, keep achieving those certifications in that direction.
Mhm.
And when finally you go for the interview, your resume should be so heavy that they cannot ignore it.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I, I would like to take a parallels from your thought process, sir. The point where you had mentioned that when you start doing a career counseling for a child, you realize that there is a mental block, and uh, then that is the time where you say that this process has to stop and you need to look much more deeper. I think there's a very similar parallel with respect to veterans also. But veterans, before they look into the career, their second career, they need to first psychologically they need to understand what is their mental setup, and are there any mental blocks which are which are inhibiting or limiting them towards making that next decision. And would you agree with that, sir?
Absolutely. I fully agree with you, even though I'm too junior to comment on senior veterans. But something which I keep telling a lot of officers is first and foremost, you need to identify your passion.
Hmm.
Because I always say, if I have 10 skilled people with me and I have somebody who's very passionate, I would find a lot of difference between somebody who's more passionate than somebody who's skilled. Somebody
Hmm.
who's passionate will make things work.
Hmm.
Somebody who's skilled is only coming there just for the sake of coming there and working and
Hmm.
earning his bread. But somebody who's passionate will make things work. Will come out with bright ideas. So that is one. So once you identify your passion, then what you need to do is to start taking all the qualifications, certification, experiences in that direction. Like
Hmm.
if I can give my own example, I had subscribed for almost all the educational magazines which is available in India for last more
Hmm.
than 10 years.
Superb.
I have subscribed to some fantastic YouTube channels where educationalists are there. I have in LinkedIn, there are so many groups of career counselors, there are so many groups of educationists,
Hmm.
school groups. So I have joined all of them. So, and that's what I keep telling the students also, probably veterans can take a cue out of that, that if you're passionate about something, there are so many things. Like 3 days back, I was looking at someone who's very keen in becoming a lawyer, getting
Hmm.
into the legal field. So the child is in 10th. I said, immediately you need to subscribe for all the magazines in the legal fraternity. You need to follow people on YouTube, on Instagram, and check for the Facebook community list of legal fraternity. Start joining. That is how your learning outcome is going to increase, because there will be a lot of healthy discussions which is there. With in terms of veterans, what I'm seeing is that most of them do not identify their passion,
Hmm.
because of which I have done this course, which is in security. Somebody is doing also in, say, project management, and somebody has also done XYZ course in a totally different domain. So they become, when the CV, when I look at somebody's CV, it looks as if a person is lying to try and grab whatever has come his way, but is not very specific where
Hmm.
he or she is going to hit.
Hmm.
That is something which is I have spoken to a lot of HR people, and they say, you know, as such, being a veteran, you have a lot of skills. In
Hmm.
fact, you can say you are jack of many trades.
Yeah.
But what we need to do is to sharpen our skills in the specific field where you are going to do. And of course, a lot of research needs to be done when you go for that final interview. Even if I could give examples, even if you're looking for HR, so whether you are going to look for HR of a construction company or a
Yeah.
e-commerce site, or say school space, or a multinational company. So and all of them have got a little difference in their dynamics. So you should be so passionate that I am going to hit there after say 10 years or after 5 years. And you should have done so much of research your way that when you finally put up your resume there and you go for the interview, they cannot ignore you. That's the kind of passion you need to have. And because of your knowledge and this much of research which you have done over a period of 5 years or a decade, you will be standing out of all the candidates. Somebody might come with 20 years of experience in HR,
Mhm.
but your passion is going to be very, very different and distinct from the other candidates.
Mhm.
And I always look for passion in people rather than the skill.
So coming to the topic of passion, can you just give me one way how you can gauge someone's passion?
Okay, so what happens is, suppose I'm speaking to you on different topics.
Mhm.
There will be one topic which will be very close to your heart.
Mhm.
Immediately, I'll find a different spark in your eye,
Okay.
and you will be in a different level. And that is that point where you will not allow me to speak. You will be speaking so much about it.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
so that is what passion is all about. And of course, passion will be backed by a lot of knowledge.
Okay.
It is not purely about, yes, I'm passionate about this thing and I've not done any research. No, like I said, you can subscribe to magazines, you can subscribe to you can follow Instagrammers who are in that field, you can subscribe to YouTube channels, you can do a lot of Google research. You can always, and the best thing about your mobile is when there is a particular news, like I'm very particular, very fond of educational news. So once or twice when I click those in shots which comes or those snippets which come, then they ensure that I'm always bombarded with those kind of news.
Mhm.
And because that is how their search engine works. Good for them, good for me. I'm also happy because I am getting all latest educational news. So I have updated. I feel I can be updated because of these things. So these are the things which shows a person who's passionate compared to somebody who is looking for a job in any particular field and looking for the first salary. There's a huge difference.
Okay. Sir, coming back to your experience in coaching children, when you say that you are a military professional, um, what is the first, uh, let's say, experience to the initial days, because very seldom do military professionals and child, the domain of children come together. And so when someone says, okay, there is a military officer who is ready to do career coaching for children, what was their first impression? So this is something you would have felt probably in the initial days. Can you just tell me that part?
Yeah, what you said is absolutely right. Generally, people have a different concept about military people. Firstly, they should have long mustache
Mm-hmm.
and crew cut, always smartly dressed. So they have a different perception and very stiff while talking.
Mm-hmm.
So they have a different. Majority of the people have a different perception about the defense personnel.
Mm-hmm.
So what happens is when you send across a word that you are a retired defense officer after serving 23 years of service in the defense forces, you are ready to take on career counseling or psychological counseling, which is a altogether different domain than what people expect out of somebody who's worked on the uniform for so long. So, but then fortunately, because of my credentials for the kind of academic qualifications
Mm-hmm.
which I have, so when that goes through, because before I speak to anybody, the academic qualifications and the credentials go through. So when they look at it, they realize, yes, he's not one of those who's only fought with
Mm-hmm.
the anti-national elements in the defense forces. He's also somebody who's invested time and energy in the field which he is working right now. So firstly, my credentials really helped.
Okay.
And of course, I knew that was required to build for getting a decent clientele. That is one. Second thing is we have to shed or we have to unlearn and relearn. That's
Mm-hmm.
very, very important because large number of us after retiring still cannot come out of those ethos which we have learned, or this lifestyle which we have learned.
Mhm.
Fortunately, because I have worked in schools, I have worked in state government where I was with the governor. So it has been a great help for me to understand how the things work in different fields. I have got a lot of experience in different fields, like working in a school space is entirely different.
Mhm.
Working in a state government is
Yeah.
entirely different. So I've been fortunate that I have been in these spaces. So it helped me in understanding what is the other person looking at.
Mhm.
Another very, very important thing is, which I generally do, is I give a lot of space to the parents' views. So, while I do the career counseling or a
Mhm.
parenting coaching or the psychological skill counseling of the children, what I always do is I give a specific time, or a specific time limit where I allow the parents to speak about the child, because
Mhm.
they are their best judge.
Okay.
So, and while the child is not listening, so that's the time they come out with all the inputs about the child. And when they realize, yes, here is a man who's ready to listen, somebody who's open to views, who's
Mm.
having a healthy discussion
Okay.
about the child before he draws his own conclusion,
Mm.
and taking all the possible inputs from the parents. So then they have more confidence. And they are
Mhm.
the ones who are judging me. It is not the child who is judging me
Yeah.
whether I'm good or not good.
Mhm.
It is the parents who are judging me. After all, they are the ones who are paying. So I that's how I get a lot of clientele, because
Mhm.
what happens is the children can never get me more clients. It is the parents who will, have a wow feeling if they are happy about it, and they'll speak to other parents also. Okay, you have a child who's in 10th standard. We had come across somebody who's into
Mhm.
this, and we found him reasonably good. So that's how the clientele increase. That's how I've somehow broken into the space of career counseling, and by God's grace, it's doing well, and I'm enjoying it.
So what you mean to say is marketing and branding is not as important as word of mouth. So in this industry, if you really have to make a name for yourself, it is mainly word of mouth, and that means a lot. So your credentials, the way you handle, especially handling parents, handling children, is something which you need to really understand, isn't it, sir?
Absolutely. I always say that it is one good testimonial which will get you more customers than 100 advertisement boards. That's something I have strongly believed, and
Correct.
that is something I've seen in my own case.
Correct.
It is my customers who get me more customers. I
Uh-huh.
can make my flyers and keep sending it left, right, and center. I can even do Instagram paid campaigning. I can do Facebook paid campaigning.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of people in this field. It is not that it is not a niche field. Actually, there's a field where there's huge amount of competition. Since
Mm-hmm.
I am already in this space and I have various forums and groups in which I am member of, I've seen the number of career counselors in this country is huge.
Mm. Correct.
Tremendous amount of career counselors are there. So
Yeah.
it is not that we have any kind of monopoly or anything. No, absolutely no. You have to earn your bread every day. And
Mm-hmm.
I've seen testimonials get you customers.
Okay.
And some established brands may not give testimonials because people have already tested it. Like if
Mhm.
I'm going to wear a Reebok shoes,
Yeah.
I know I've used it for so many years and it is good. So I don't have to take a testimonial from anyone. But if I were to look for an absolutely new brand, I would like to ask somebody who's used it. So similarly, any business for that matter, in our business especially, because it is a slightly a sensitive thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because some wrong words used by the career counselors, some wrong statements used
Yeah.
by someone can actually, change the life-making decisions of the child
Mm-hmm.
and the entire family.
Okay.
So they are very, very careful before they come. They select the right career counselor. So I've been lucky. A lot of parents who have already worked with me, they go out of their way to spread the news that we have come across someone. We've really enjoyed this journey, so we also
Mm-hmm.
try it. So that's what it is.
Sir, tell me something about the book you have authored. Do you love your child? I mean, it's more focused towards parenting and the tools and tips. Can you just share that a journey as an
Okay.
author? When did you find that this is something which you need to put it out there?
Okay. So this is the book which I have authored. Do you love your child?
Mhm.
Uh, and here is my name and everything.
Yeah.
So this is on positive parenting tips and how to be a super parent.
Mhm.
Okay, all of us are great parents. I wouldn't say we are not good parents. We are all great parents. So that's why I said how tips to be a super parent. So
Mhm.
that is my aim, to make you a super parent, not a great parent.
Mhm.
Now, I've been conducting workshops on positive parenting for last almost 10 years.
Wow.
So this is generally a 3 hours workshop where I talk about child abuse, various parenting techniques,
Mhm.
tools, then what are the different styles of parenting, how to make your parenting journey stress free. So these are the things which I generally do in my workshop.
Okay.
So while I was about to leave the organization, it was always there in my mind that I need to write a book. But then there is always inertia within you, which
Mhm.
keep pushing the things tomorrow will do, tomorrow, that tomorrow which never comes.
Mhm.
I was fortunate before I uh, left the organization, and I always wanted to take out this book after I leave the organization because while being in the service, there are a lot of protocols which you have to follow when you have to write the book. So I was not too sure whether I would like to go through those
Mhm.
because the confidentiality of the matter was something which I was very, very particular.
Okay.
So while I was about to leave in the last 6 months, fortunately or unfortunately, I was sent to a very, very lonely and a God-forsaken place where there was no internet
Mhm.
and the power supply also was hardly working, and it was somewhere on the eastern front, somewhere facing our dear friend from China.
Mhm.
So I was fortunate to be sitting there for almost 2 3 months, and that's the time when I realized, yes, I have some time now and undisturbed because since the mobile is not working, I was very lucky.
Mhm.
So I sat down every day. I used to write 3 chapters, and out of I think 40 chapters altogether. So not more than 15 days I took to finish writing this book. The content was there in my mind.
Okay.
So it was just that I had to put it down.
Mhm.
Not more than 15 days I took. In fact, when I finished writing, I realized that I have written almost 2 books. The
Okay.
content was so much that I had to cut down on the content. And what I have taken out in this particular book, which is little above 200 pages, is only 60% of the content which I have already written. So probably after some stage, I would like to take out the second edition of this, and that is what. And about the book, this book gives you my aim. If you look at the blurb behind, my aim is to make your parenting journey simple and enjoyable. That is my aim, because I keep speaking to a lot of parents. We unnecessarily stress ourselves while we are dealing with our children. We complicate things and then try to find solutions for it. And in the first place, there was no complication as such. We complicated it, and then we are trying to find solution for it. The parenting journey is very simple if you keep it simple. There are some very, very thumb rules. Okay, if I can give two thumb rules for two words while you're dealing with your children, which I have highlighted at several places in this book. Two words: polite and firm.
Mhm.
Whenever you're dealing with children, in fact, whenever you're dealing with any human being, these are the two words to be kept in mind:
Mhm.
polite and firm.
Mhm.
Polite means there is no space for rudeness. There is no space for physical punishment. There is
Mhm.
no space for you to get irritated.
Mhm.
Firm means you have to correct the child
Mhm.
whenever you find the child is doing something wrong.
Mhm.
But while being firm, remember the first word, that is polite. So
Mhm.
two words, if you keep in mind, in fact, I say while I am dealing with any human being, only two words if I keep in mind, polite and firm, everything else gets sorted.
Okay.
So these are the two golden words I always give. If I, of course, I can't speak entire chapters. So I
Mhm.
would just talk about these two words. Keep in mind while dealing with your children, all your problems will get sorted.
Okay. Coming to uh, your experience when you're dealing with children, sir. You may have come across children, like you mentioned towards the start of the podcast, that there are a lot of children who are facing difficulties, especially post COVID. Uh, can you name one major factor contributing to this depression?
Okay. I can't particularly aim at one, but one something which I am seeing regularly in students is the peer pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I speak about child abuse in my positive parenting workshops, most of the time we generally think of some stranger coming online or somebody doing a sexual abuse with a child or physical abuse with a child. So these are the things which come to our mind, even online abuse. But most of it today, mostly 100% of the children today I am dealing with who are on the verge of slipping into depression are getting into this trouble because of their peers, because of the social media pressure.
Mm-hmm.
I can give two, three examples. A girl, about 2 months back,
Mm-hmm.
she was messaging one of her friends that I want to commit suicide.
Oh.
And fortunately, her mother saw it, and then she called me, and then we started the counseling sessions.
Okay.
When I got into the depth of it, it
Mm-hmm.
was a very minor issue. There was an Instagram group which was, and she's in 8th standard.
Okay.
Instagram group which was started by these children of her class, her friends, and what she was trying to get into that group. They call themselves the elite group. So she was very desperate to get into that group, and those children were not allowing her to get into that group. They're saying, no, you don't fit into that elite category to get into this particular Insta group
Okay.
of some of the children of her class. And then she is pleading over the phone through messages that please allow me, please allow me. And finally, they did not allow her. She's saying, I want to end my life. Nobody likes me.
Mm-hmm.
So that is one instance. I can give another instance. One girl about 3 weeks back, she gave me a call 4 o'clock in the morning, and she says, I want to do self-harm. I might even commit suicide. 4 o'clock in the morning, she was doing counseling with me. Then when I got into the depth of the things, she was chatting with her best friend
Mm-hmm.
throughout the night. And another girl who's her best friend, she's saying ki all the children are speaking very bad about you in the class. You are very rude. You're a big show off. You're this, you're that. And then she got so disgusted that she's saying at 4 o'clock in the morning that I want to commit suicide.
No.
So, most of the things are happening because of peer pressure.
Okay.
I always tell children while counseling that anybody outside your house, don't take them seriously. Put a filter and deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And anybody inside your house, that is your parents, always take them seriously. But unfortunately today, almost every child is doing the ulta of that.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody in their social media, their friend circle, and all those, they take them very seriously. They say it, the dress you wore on that day party, not at all good. All the children are talking, she's a big show off, and you're depressed, you're sad, you can't eat. Whereas your parents have been telling you 101 things to do this, do that, do this, you're not interested.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the major factor I'm seeing today is social media, peer pressure, and uncontrolled access given to the children or through these gadgets. I can't understand why can't the parents at least take these gadgets back at 9:30 in the night. Even if you want, firstly, though, I don't recommend giving mobile phones before 12 standard.
Mm-hmm.
And even if you want to give because of these online classes and everything happening, please switch off the Wi-Fi, take back the phone at 9:30 in the night, because I am seeing all cases, all wrong things are happening only after that. So that's some of the aspects which I am seeing. And of course, this pandemic has been bad for the children, because looking at the screen for half an hour sometimes bores you.
Mm-hmm.
If it is nothing which is very entertaining.
Yeah.
So you can't imagine children sitting there and attending classes from morning 8 o'clock to 1 o'clock or 1:30. It is difficult for them. So they get distracted. They start chatting amongst friends.
Mm-hmm.
So this year has been bad. It has been bad for a large number of adults, but for children particularly who's got so much of energy, they are so vibrant, they are so physically active. Tell them you can't go out of the house for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. Quite difficult for them.
As we're coming towards the end of the podcast, sir, I believe you are into career counseling. Do you do career counseling for adults also, sir? That is for corporate professionals, or your niche is more towards the children area?
I do for adults. I have done for several adults, especially the defense personnels who
Mm-hmm.
wanted to switch career and try to
Absolutely.
find out what their passion was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I helped large number of them because the psychometric assessment which I put
Yeah.
through on the working has got anybody above each standard and above.
Mm-hmm.
So even for working professionals, graduates, postgraduates, so for everybody it is there. And fortunately, the psychometric assessment which I use has been taken by more than 25 lakh people.
Oh,
So
okay.
it is quite an accurate, and everybody has fallen back and told me it is absolutely bang on.
Mm-hmm.
The personality section, the aptitude section, the interest and the passion section. So they have been generally bang on, and they've been very satisfied. And a lot of their hidden strengths are brought out in the psychometric assessment. A lot of their challenges come out, their strong areas come out. So we generally tend get to know what are these areas where they should be working upon, and which is the strong areas where they can uh, look at when they are looking for the next career. So yes, for certain working professionals also, I've been doing.
So if there is a veteran out there who's in their final year of service and they require your services, how do they get in touch with you? Do you have a website, or how do they?
Yes, I have the website, and that is the www.dbtc.co.in. That is a Dream Big Training and Consultancy.
Okay.
To go in there, there is a tab, find contact us. In that, when you click, immediately the message will be coming to me.
Okay.
So that is how you can get into. My mobile numbers are available in that. So, and of course, my flyer is available with you. If you could just flash the flyer also. This this will help anybody who loves to get in touch with me, and I'll be more than happy to
Mm-hmm.
do the career counseling of students, working professionals, parenting coaching. Anybody is finding their parenting journey difficult,
Mm-hmm.
stressful, please get in touch with me. And psychological coaching, goal setting, bringing back the focus for students. These are the certain things which I'm doing.
Thank you so much, sir, for your time today. I mean, it's a huge learning lesson for me also. And the way I see it, sir, I believe you more or less hit most of the buttons which a veteran in their last year of service, right from career counseling to the fact that I'm sure at least 90% of veterans are parents, and they have got if they have got some query with respect to parenting, they can buy your book. And after one it's come to parenting, then how to go across planning a child's career, and so that you happen to be an expert in that field also. So the way I see it, you're a whole package in itself. And and I'm sure that I'm going to buy a book, because I just don't want to be just a parent. I would love to be a super parent, like you had mentioned. And so for this, thank you so much. I it's definitely a privilege and an honor to speak to you, sir. I'm sure your personal journey, right from a military school to National Defense Academy to the army, and then all the way back to giving it back to the young generation. Psychologically, sir, I am quite interested in to understand, dwelling much more deeper into this aspect of yours. However, due positive of time, sir, I believe, sir, I'll have to call you once again on this platform very soon. Uh,
Okay. Thank you. This book, I just forgot to mention, it's available on Amazon. So if you type, "Do you love your child?"
okay.
So it's available on Amazon. So you can pick it up from there.
Okay.
And I hope you'll enjoy reading this. Thank you so much, Arjun. It was fantastic talking to you, a very vibrant and young officer. Wishing you all the best for your future endeavors. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.